All right, everybody, welcome into the Fifth Dimension podcast. For today's show, I am joined by my brother, Blind Joe. Joe, such a pleasure to be able to connect again, man. How are you doing?
Hey, likewise, Evan. Thank you so much for having me, dude. Should we start it off with a little honky tonk music?
I would love it. Let's make it
Let's do it,
happen.
man. Let's do it. This is a song. It's my new single. I got it on Spotify and Apple Music, and of course, you can hear me sing it every day live at 2 p.m. on my social medias. Check out blindjoe.com for more info on that one. This is called Hardwood Floor, and it goes like this. Tonight I'm gonna raise hell on a hardwood floor. I'm gonna drink and dance until my feet don't work no more. So crank up that old corner jukebox, let the old number 74. Cause tonight I'm gonna raise hell on a hardwood floor. But a 40-hour weekend with 30 hours overtime. Busting my butt for a boss who makes $1 and he gives me a dime. Yeah, these old bones, they sure are aching. Matter of fact, my whole damn body's sore. But still, tonight I'm gonna raise hell on a hardwood floor. I said tonight I'm gonna raise hell on a hardwood floor. I'm gonna drink and dance until my feet don't work no more. Crank up that old corner jukebox, let the old number 7 pour. Cause tonight I'm gonna raise hell on a hardwood floor. Now the lady I love, she's the hottest thing in our hometown. Every weekend like me, likes to pick up her boots and throw down. Well, she just texted and said, baby, I'm ready. Now that's a message I ain't gonna ignore. So tonight we're gonna raise hell on a hardwood floor. I said tonight I'm gonna raise hell on a hardwood floor. I'm gonna drink and dance until my feet don't work no more. So crank up that old corner jukebox, let the old number 7 pour. Cause tonight I'm gonna raise hell on a hardwood floor. Yeah, you know tonight I'm gonna raise hell on a hardwood floor.
Woo!
Yeah, brand new, buddy, brand new. We just released that on July 1st, and I'm really excited about it, man. We, of course, it's no I Will Not Comply with hundreds of thousands of views, which I want to tell you and the listeners of the podcast, thank you very much for that. But we've gotten just about 5,000 streams in the past month and 10 days of that song being out. And as an independent artist, man, that's awesome for me.
Hell
so
yeah.
thank you if you've been streaming my stuff. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much.
Hell yeah, brother. I love it. And I will tell you, I've been streaming, I've been tuning in. So I was sitting here, I'm like, oh yeah, I recognize this. Let's go. So I love it, man. It's a good vibe. And I love the energy that you're bringing into your music, man. I think it's exactly what this world needs. There's love to it, there's true authenticity to it. And that's what we need. That's what we need right now.
I think you're right about that. I hear that a lot from people, that it's authentic. And I think that just comes from the passion that I have for real country music, and really real music and real people in general. There's so much fake going on today between the news and the media, and of course music is just I don't even want to get into that. I could talk about that for hours, especially living in Nashville for 2.5 years like we did, and now relocating back to Minnesota to be with family and stuff. It's such a it's sad what we've become. It really is, especially with country music. I hear a lot of people talk to me all the time about, oh man, you got to sign a record deal, dude. And come on, man, you want to be with the big wigs, you want to play the Opry and this and that. And what people don't realize is that not only is the music business just a really crappy business to begin with, people are generally buttholes in the music business.
Yeah.
That's not to say that I haven't met some really nice people, because I definitely have. My producer, Brett McCullough, comes to mind. Brad Paisley is very nice,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of stuff. But the majority of them are pissed off because they're not talented enough to be musicians. And so they're record label owners, or,
Yeah.
you know, they have money and no talent. And so they take the people that have talent and, you know, try to get them going, I guess, with money. But in reality, what ends up happening is they just change everything and
yeah,
trying to make something marketable. I understand it, but it's not what music needs. Music is marketable all on its own. So, you know, that's just my short 2 minutes bitching about Nashville. So how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I'm fantastic. It's interesting because, I mean, something I've actually been thinking about a lot is sort of my own creative expression and authenticity, right? And I think I resonate with what you're doing because, you know, I'm not a musician, but I you know, I write a lot of poetry. I do a lot of writing. I really express myself in creative ways. And so as I do that and open myself up, like there's so much like beauty and authenticity to tap into in the world. And you can really recognize when things are, I would say, fake, or, you know, made for a conforming standard, if you will.
Absolutely. Yep. Conformity. That's it, man. You nailed, you hit the nail on the head with that. That's what it's all about, really, is to, you know, the music industry treats us a lot like the government treats us, you know. Oh, don't worry, zombies, we'll just control you with whatever we see fit and you won't know any different.
Yep.
Exactly. And you know, it's sad and pathetic, and it's the reason that you'll never, and now this isn't saying that like I think I'm some high and mighty person, but that's the reason you'll never see someone like me famous, or you know, the chances of it happening are slim to none. And that's not because like I'm not talented, or I'm not a good writer, or I'm not good at what I do, because I think I am, and I have tons and tons of people backing that up. The reality of it is that they don't want someone that will say no and go against the grain. You know, it's easier for them if they can just throw a bunch of money at someone and go, do this. Exactly. And hope for the best. And they'll never get that from me, especially now that I've been in Nashville and I've met these executives and I know what kind of slimy pieces of shit they really are.
So. Beautiful. Well, I love it. I love that you don't conform to the standard, because I guess anytime I guess maybe it's marketing 101 in a sense. Anytime you're trying to sell something to a large number of people, you almost have to dumb it down to a certain level of how are we going to check the most boxes here? And anytime you do that on a large scale, whether it's music, whether it's government, one size fits all, right? You're really narrowing the individual, I would say, spirit that can live within it, and what actually makes it unique and what actually makes it beautiful.
Absolutely, man.
And to me, if anything, it feels like artists like you and, you know, the visionaries who aren't, I would say, conforming to this sort of standard that has been set in society of wanting to be, you know, doing music for wanting to be rich and famous, or doing it for these reasons that are sort of more artificial. I think it's the artists like you that are really the center of the cultural shift and the cultural revolution that is already taking place, right? I feel it. I know it's taking place because I can feel it within myself. I see it within you, right? And
and it is the problem with it is that you'll never hear in the mainstream about a cultural shift. I mean, I guess there are people that kind of talk about the way things are going a little bit better than they were. Now you got like the Matt Walshes of the world, you know, putting out documentaries like What is a Woman, which is just fantastic. I mean, good on Matt Walsh. What a great dude. But you know, it's something that it's just kind of, I think, always going to be an underground thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm perfectly content with being the guy that some people love to hate and being underground. And, you know, I stream live every day from a freaking closet in my in-laws house. Like that's, you know, that's how I make my living. And, you know, I'm not on the radio. I'm not on TV for the most part. I was on The Voice, well, you know, a few years ago, but other than that, you know, it's all about the fans and that grassroots relationship that you can make with the fans. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I think you'll see as I keep streaming, I hope this is the case, that we accrue more fans and more people, because I can't tell you how many people say the same thing you just said to me all the time, which is, dude, the culture's shifting. Times are changing. You know what? It's finally people are starting to wake up a little bit. And I think they are to an extent, but I fear too that, we could be too little too late as far as the governmental side of things is concerned, with groups like the World Economic Forum and Bill Gates running his crap and everything like that. But who knows? You never know. You know what I mean? You look at now what's going on with, and I usually, like I said, stay out of the mainstream, but you got the FBI raiding Trump, which is completely uncalled for. I don't care if you like Donald Trump or hate Donald Trump. Personally, I think he's an arrogant douchebag. Anybody that supports the release of Lil Wayne and Kodak Black can, fill up on a big bucket of suck it, as far as I'm concerned. But it's uncalled for a government agency to go in and raid a former president's house for documents that are not that National Archive documents. I mean, it's silly. It's silly. And this is what it's becoming, is just do whatever we want because there'll be no repercussions,
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting that comes at the same time. You don't see no FBI raids about Epstein's Island or any of the clients on there, right?
Yeah. So. How many, you know what, Evan, you bring up a great point. How many people from that list that they had, when that blacklist or whatever the hell you call it, when Epstein committed suicide, they had a list of all the people, including the Clintons, that have been brought forward. And how many of those people have been held accountable? Zero. None. That shows you how much your government really cares about you folks and your children, by the way.
Exactly. Because the children were the ones who were being exploited on that island. And it just goes to show you. And I kind of have the same sentiment as you, in a sense. It might be too late in a lot of ways to save certain, I don't know, like in terms of fighting for freedom, it almost feels impossible to do on a governmental level based on how
federal
corrupt.
level. Exactly. And that's why I tell people, man, you got to go to the local level and talk to these people, walk up to them and get in their face and say, hey, you know what? I want to vote for you. I really do. But I need to know where you stand on this, and this. And the smaller the town, the better chance you have of making something happen. And I think, even to, if nobody is doing anything that you approve of or you think is morally right, then I think you should become the politician in your small town, or at least try to get on your town council or something. It all starts from the bottom up, guys. So many people I see, especially like, oh, Biden sucks. Joe Biden, what a piece of crap. Well, yes, he's always been a piece of crap. I mean, go watch him lying about his college career in the 80s. I mean, the guy is a professional liar. That's what politicians are. And whether it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump, and people are going to disagree with me on this, but whatever. They all fight for the same team, guys. They're all on the same team. It's all a new world order scheme that you're not going to, it's too big now, from a multi-country standpoint. That's why I say, go to your town, worry about your family, your government, the food that you have, the weapons that you have. You got to worry about yourself and not worry about this big picture distraction that they try to nail you with every single day. I mean, if it's not COVID, it's trans. And if it's not trans, it's the FBI raiding Trump. I mean, do you really care? Like, yes, I care. I think it's uncalled for, but does it take something out of your specific day to know that the FBI raided Donald Trump? Of course not.
Right.
Who cares? You don't know him. You're never going to know him.
Exactly.
I mean, just like this Johnny Depp shit that they had going on for a while with that Amber Heard or whatever. Dude, who cares? When you see this stuff, on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, your first thing should not be, oh, I want to look at this. Your first question should be, what are they trying to distract me from?
Exactly.
Because that is the game, ladies and gentlemen. And it always will be, as long as we keep falling for this shit. Exactly.
And I think what gives this system power is the individuals feeding into it, right?
Absolutely.
If nobody paid attention to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, then
it would go away.
They would realize, the media would realize within a day, oh, they aren't paying attention. We need something a little more spicy or juicy, right? And they'd ramp it up, try and ramp it up a little bit. But if we,
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, if we just completely detach from our, I would say, addiction to this consumption that we've been so trained to, the system would inevitably have to invert, or I would say change to what we are demanding, or it would collapse upon itself.
Absolutely. You got it, man. You got it. And there's so much going on, behind the scenes that they don't want us to know about. AI is a huge thing, artificial intelligence. People need to be scared. I mean, and I'm not saying, freak out and prep up and hide yourself in a bunker and stuff like that. If you want to do that, that's fine. And I have the utmost respect for you. I wish I could. But there is no legislation. There's no laws. These guys are just going willy-nilly, man, doing whatever they want. And people go, well, Alexa's pretty cool. Well, Siri's pretty cool. Folks, that's not AI. Okay. Yeah. That's what they want you to think AI is, so that when this stuff really does come in and start taking your jobs and taking your money and telling you what to do and policing the streets, that you'll go, oh, I don't know, I've never even heard anything like this before. Boston Dynamics is probably who people think of when they think of AI. And there's so much more to it than that. Yeah. And I am a firm believer in legislation around AI and really pulling back the veil so that people understand what the hell's going on, because it's scary stuff, dude. You can talk some sense into a police officer sometimes when they've pulled you over or they arrest you or whatever, they're human beings, but you come in contact with a drone with a gun on it that tells you comply or die. There's nothing you can do. And if you think that won't happen, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Look at these people in the UK now that are being arrested for posting stuff because their posts give people anxiety. That's the tip of this iceberg, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and it's coming here. It's coming here. If we don't stand up and say, hey, enough of this shit. We have had it. You lied to us about the Rona. Now you're trying to get us with monkeypox, which I can't even believe, dude. I mean, it blows my mind. Certainly, there's not a lot of people out there that are freaked out about monkeypox.
I don't think so. I haven't heard a single person talk about it like out in real life, to be honest.
Real world, yeah. Neither have I. So that's a good thing. So that tells me that we're all kind of waking up. But we need to get past this. President this and president that and blah blah blah, and really get down to the meat of the situation and get everything on a local level. Who's your mayor of your town? And I was talking to my wife Leanne about this a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And we live in a town called Deer River, which is a town of like 1,000 people probably. Mm-hmm. And she asked me, she goes, well, you're talking about local stuff. Who's the mayor of Deer River? I go, I don't know. Yeah. I have no idea. I mean, granted, we've only been here for 4 months, but you'd think with everything that I talk about and tell people, the first thing that I would have done is contacted someone and said, hey, who's the mayor of this town? What are we talking about here? But you don't think of it, right. You don't think, and especially now because everything is so federal and elections and president and this and that and the other, nobody thinks, what's going on in my town? It's always what's going on in the world, what's going on in the country.
Exactly.
And that's what they want, so I'm just as much to blame as anybody else for not keeping it local. But sorry about my rambling.
Oh, don't apologize. I love it, man. Like, it's beautiful because you kind of took a lot of the words out of my mouth. It is about that localization. And it's funny because my mom just moved to a new small town in South Dakota, and it's about 1,000 people, right? Awesome. And one of the things she noticed was they were holding an election and for mayor. And one of the mayor candidates started speaking about the World Economic Forum and started speaking about the New World, all of these things going on. Awesome. Like, all right, that's my vote right there.
Voting for you. Yeah, right. Exactly, dude. But I might have to move to South Dakota.
Right, no, exactly. But I don't believe he ended up winning. But I mean, the fact that information is even getting out there in small communities, in the local, because, a lot of people I've noticed within, I'm actually in Montana right now. I'm in West Yellowstone, and it's, it's kind of a touristy area and whatnot. And
beautiful country.
Yeah. And
at least that's what they tell me anyways.
It is. It is. You're right on. And it's interesting because Montana has I don't know, it's kind of going California in certain ways. And I've heard a lot
That's
of
because
locals
all the
complain about
assholes
that.
from California moved up there when when
Yep.
shit hits the fan.
Right. Exactly. But it's interesting. Even here, people, even if they're not necessarily consciously thinking about this larger scale picture, a lot of people in this part of the country, they are getting a lot of their food locally. They are supporting the local farmers, right? There is a
Right.
lot of options to sort of have this local supply chain instead of
Yep.
feeding out into this bigger picture, which I think is exactly what we need. We need to be supporting these industries. I mean, I've been kind of on a quest for raw milk as of late, and it's a little difficult
Good luck,
to find.
buddy.
Yeah, I
Good
know.
luck. Good luck. It's like practically illegal. You'd be so much easier for you to just start smoking meth.
Yeah, I know. It would. It really would, which is unfortunate. But I've been contacting a few different local farmers. One of them told me, "Oh, go blame Big Brother over in the capital because they shut me down for selling raw milk." So
yeah.
it's one of those things.
So pathetic, dude. But again, that's their game. This raw milk thing this has been a problem for years. I've tried to get milk for years and years and years, and you just can't get it. So now I buy bovine colostrum, and just drink it very sparingly because it's super expensive. But the thing with milk is that they know that it's one of the best things that you can put in your body. That's why it's illegal. That should tell you everything you need to know. If you're still on the fence about the government and you think, well, yeah, maybe they said a couple things, but they're not really out to get us. Yeah, right, dude. I mean, these are the people that made milk illegal and then told you to take an injection or 5 that was tested on no one. And now we're finding out that the animal tests that they did do, because they knew if they didn't, they'd get even more hot water. The animals died.
Yep.
So, there you go. I mean,
exactly.
that's your government for you.
Well, and there was I believe there was a life insurance company that measured there was a 40% increase in premature death across the United States in 2021. And it's like, I wonder what rolled out in 2021 that would cause such a drastic increase.
Right. And now have you heard about sudden adult death syndrome?
Oh, yeah.
And dude, you know what pisses me off about that? Let me tell you, because I will. I have seen no one at all on any platform say, hey, sudden adult death syndrome, sudden infant death syndrome. What is the correlation here? And I'll tell you what the correlation is. Vaccines, ladies and gentlemen. I don't give a shit if you believe in vaccines or not. That's the truth of it. SIDS came around when vaccines came around. And this is exactly why we're seeing this sudden adult death syndrome now, because there were no testing, there was no studies. Even if there were studies, I wouldn't trust it anyways, because why would you? But it's silly. It's silly to think that something specifically designed to make money and completely foreign to your body is going to help you in life.
Exactly.
It's silly. It's just silly. And I'll never understand why people trust doctors or pharmacists. And that's not to say I've never gone to the doctor, because I've taken antibiotics or whatever when I didn't know any better. But it's sick. It's a sick game. Nobody teaches doctors about natural remedies or natural anything. I mean, dude, I'll tell you this right now. If you can get your hands on good chicken bones, make yourself a big pot of bone broth and just drink a cup of it every day for a week and just watch what happens.
Yeah, it's profound. And when you start eating real food is medicine. That's what Hippocrates. That's what he said. And he's the founding of, they named the Hippocratic Oath after him, right? So food be thy medicine.
Yes, and they've designed everything specifically so you don't even know what food is anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can tell everybody a great antifungal is oregano oil, 100% internally and externally. And people are like, oregano oil, what the hell are you talking about? I got to go to the doctor. I got a rash. It's like, dude, no, you don't. You do not need to feed into these stupid little games that they have you playing. Taking medicines that are specifically designed to make you sicker is not going to make you better. And I'm not saying like, I'm totally against the medical establishment. If I get into a car accident on the road and break my legs, please take me to the hospital. And but this overprescription shit is just, it's silly. It's stupid. When you watch TV, look at how many commercials you see, ask your doctor about this and ask your doctor about that. It's like, shouldn't your doctor be telling you? That's the way it was when I was a kid. You went to the doctor and you didn't know shit, and they told you.
Right. Instead of going in and be like, hey, doctor, prescribe me another thing. Prescribe this, prescribe that. Let me get another pill going in my.
Think of how dumb you must sound to a doctor when you walk in and you're like, I've seen this medicine on TV. It says you could help me. I mean, the doctor's probably like, oh my God, another one.
Really? Another one. Yeah. Well, but he'll probably get a nice bonus if he prescribes it. So he'll be like, absolutely. Oh, yeah, so, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, incentives for sure. Yeah. And that's the game too. Yeah, you get it, man. That's why I love talking to you, dude, because you totally get it.
I was gonna say same wavelength, and it's interesting because prior to 2020, I mean, I was definitely somebody who took care of my own health. I was looking into a lot of the natural and organic foods and remedies and supplements and whatnot, but I don't think I had that awakening to the deep level of corruption within our medical establishment and how much it is creating this system of sickness and dependency, right? And just the fact that when somebody's born, we inject them immediately with pharmaceuticals. It implies that we are not, when we're born, we're not able to survive in this world without pharmaceutical intervention from the very get-go. And that, how is that? How can somebody possibly live in that mindset of, I without a vaccine, this world is going to kill me. No doubt about it. How do we survive for thousands of years without them?
You notice they change up the terminology too sometimes to really get people, like they don't say, oh, they're getting their vaccines. It's just shots, got to get your shots. Oh, you're going to school, got to get your shots.
Yeah.
Oh, what are they for? I remember being a little kid asking my mom, what are they for? Well, it's just shots. So you have to go to school. So you can go to school, you got to get your shots. Oh, well, okay. But no, it's not okay. It's really not. Like, there is nothing wrong with anybody asking the question, what is in the medicine that you're injecting in my body? And when there is something wrong with that, that is some tyrannical overreach if I've ever heard of it.
Exactly. Well, what is true free? You have to get into the question, what is true freedom? Like, if you're having somebody telling you exactly what to do with your own body, your own sovereignty, your own way of living, and you're not even allowed to ask questions, you're not free. Like that is the definition of tyranny. It's the definition of, I would say, it's almost like I saw a video of Prince the other day, right? Prince, the musical artist, and he was talking about how there's a war on the mind and the prize is the soul, right? And I think it's a good example of that.
That is so. Did he say that? I gotta look that up.
Yeah, he did. It was in the 90s.
Like, so true. Holy cow. That's it, man. It's psychological, biological, spiritual warfare. 100%. And it's been going on for years and years and years. People think, oh, they just started this now with the coronavirus. Oh, no.
No.
No, this has been all these wars that we're in. You can go back, World War II, Vietnam, all this stuff. It's all agenda. It's all powerful people controlling the plebes like us and telling us what we want to hear to further their agenda. This is what they do. It's what they've always done. And they also know that if this stuff gets out and people start standing up, they stand absolutely no chance. They know it. It's in their doctrine. If you, I don't know, they call it the Illuminati online. I don't know that I like using the word Illuminati because so many people have done so much stupid YouTube videos and they don't understand the Illuminati. Illuminati is just a fancy way of saying light. Illuminating, which is the reason they coined that term is because Lucifer is the light. So Illuminati, light, Lucifer. But these are the powerful people, the people that are actually in control, the people that run the people that we think are in control. And it's been going on for a long time. So that, like I said before, the best way to stand up is just to be local and do your own thing and just thank God for your family and your friends and keep them around you and buy guns, lots of guns.
Exactly. Guns, food, water, have access to those things, start growing things, start meeting your local farmers. Because if you can build a self-sufficient community, you can withstand tyranny to the level of...
And if you're like me and you have a disability and I still, own guns and stuff, but obviously it's kind of hard to aim when you're blind. Find like-minded people like yourself, whether it's online or in your neighborhood that that can help you out, and just ask them, you know, hey, people are, for the most part, though it's hard to tell if you go.
Joe, I think you got booted for a second. Now your audio and video are off. Yeah, man, I think your thing cut out for a moment, and now it's your video's not there, your audio's not there. Like you got booted and like brought back in the meetings. I don't know what happened. One of our internet connections crapped the bed for a moment.
Can you see me now?
I can see you now.
Okay, sorry about that, dude. I don't know what happened there. It like popped up on my phone saying that I don't even know what it said anymore. I have no idea. We're back though.
I was gonna say we started speaking too much truth. The Zoom overlords came in and they're like, "Let me break this up for a minute."
Like, all right, that's enough that's enough telling the truth. Cut them off.
Well, somebody said to me, and I was actually talking to a guy about transhumanism, which is about AI and all this artificial intelligence.
Yes, and I love that you bring it up.
And but he was talking about how even in the words Zoom, the first three letters are zoo, right? Yep. So it's like we're in a digital trap in a way, and they could come in.
Got it.
But it's just goes to show it's funny how that I think this system that we're on does have a little bit of a life of its own, and will because I've actually noticed there are certain words that actually do trigger, and I've seen this, experience it in the past. There's certain words that I'll start having trouble with my connection as soon as somebody says a certain thing, and then we start.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it happens to me all the time, dude. I get to the point where Google won't let me email certain people.
Wow.
I have one of my songs, Hello Huntin', which is a North Dakota hunting song that I wrote for my dad and my brother. They're big hunters. Mm-hmm. And on the cover, it was just me holding the gun, you know, like I'm going hunting, walking through the woods. And Spotify completely censored it. They couldn't take it down because it's through a distributor, but they won't let it be playlisted on any of the big playlists or anything like that. And Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram all removed it completely from the platforms. And that's because I have a gun on the cover. I'm holding a gun.
Unbelievable.
I mean, so this is where we're heading, y'all, you know? And again, I don't want to scare anybody. I don't mean to, because I talk about this stuff a lot with my family too, and my wife and my mother-in-law, you know, they're like, oh, it's just so scary. It's so scary. And it's like, yes, it's scary. But if you don't know this stuff, you can't prepare. And if you're not prepared, you're going to be one of the first ones to succumb to this absolute madness that they're trying to force on us.
Exactly. And there's a big difference between being like living your life in a constant state of fear and then acknowledging that, yeah, this stuff is scary. Yeah, this is large scale. Like this is some serious stuff that we're talking about, but then almost using it as an opportunity to find deeper levels of freedom, right? And actually be consciously empowered in our decision making and how we're choosing to live our lives. Absolutely. If anything, the events of the past, I can't believe it's been 2.5 years at this point, like it's which is kind of crazy in itself. But if anything, there's a level of gratitude that I have that I've been giving this conscious awareness, because I feel more free. I feel more empowered. I feel like I'm actually living my life in a much more conscious way than I had been previously. Right. And it's like, all right, if they hadn't been so blatant and in my face about all this stuff and tried to inject me with a vaccine and all, you know, be tyrannical, then maybe I wouldn't be living as free as I am now. Right.
Yeah. So, and I think a lot of people are thinking along those same lines. You know, I get emails and social media posts and comments and stuff from people every day, and more people are waking up to this stuff. And it's just like you said, it's because they put such a fast pace hurry up on this thing that it's kind of hard not to wake people up and go, hey, wait a second, guys, like this just doesn't seem right. And I you know, that makes me, I'm glad that that's happening, but I wish that more people would tell people, hey, now that you know this is going on, break away from these distractions, head down to City Hall and see who's running your town and figure out what you can do on that level, and get with your communities and talk about, hey, if something does happen where the power grid goes down, because make no mistake, guys, it's going to happen. All right. When they put it on 60 Minutes and tell people that it would only take a little bit for this entire power grid to go down, wink, wink.
Right.
You know, it's going to happen. Will it happen all at once? No, I'm sure it'll be rolling blackouts, or, hey, you want to be a nice person, don't you? These people need power, so you have to turn off your power from such and such time to such and such time. And if you don't, you're not a nice person, and we're going to shame you all over the place, just like you non-vaxxers.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're already seeing that in California. I believe they already have policies like that, right? And it's sort of,
there you go.
It starts on the coast and it makes its way inward, which is
it's always California and New York. If you want to know what's going to happen with our country, you can watch them. And I'll tell you, New York is an absolute just cesspool, and LA is the same way. But you know, New York is just, well, LA is the same too. They're all communist, social communists, or whatever you want to call them. It's just a joke. It's
exactly. Well, and it's interesting because a phrase that I heard a couple of years ago that really stuck with me is, if you want to know the West tomorrow, look at China today, right?
Yeah,
and
you got it.
And you look at China, what's going on? They have their social credit scores. There, a lot of everything that's taking place there. Canada just introduced legislation to have a digital biometric identification system that they're going to implement at a federal level. And so all of those policies,
it's coming.
They're coming. They're being mixed in. And it's going to take individuals to actually say, nah, we ain't playing this game. We're not going to do that. That's the only way it's not going to happen.
And as far as these people that still, for some reason, I'll never understand, say things like, oh, this is America, man. Sure, it's going bad now, but wait it out. It'll be fine. You people are dumbasses, and you just need to shut the hell up, because while you're sitting there going, oh, it's everybody else's problem, these people are going to come in and overtake us. And then you're going to be stuck, controlled by these people going, gosh, I wish I would have done something. So for one, am not going to be one of these people that sits around and says, oh, I wish. That's why I wrote I Will Not Comply. That's why I wrote a little Johnny Paycheck parody called Take This Jab and Shove It. And I'm just doing what I can to wake people up to understanding this stuff, that it goes beyond you and your little bubble, and somebody else will fix it. No, that's how we got in this mess. Exactly. Because we let the government go, oh, we got you, don't worry, buddy. And in reality, they don't have shit. Just look at them. They can't even keep themselves under control. That AOC girl, she's crazy.
Exactly. Well, and it's nice to see them almost get hit with a little bit of reality check, because I do think they are getting more pushback, and they are having to be sort of confronted with the truth in a sense, and actually try and rationalize what's going on. And anytime they try and do it, they just look even more incompetent. I mean, you watch the press secretaries Biden has had, and it's an absolute travesty.
I know.
Right?
I feel so bad, and I shouldn't, but I do. I feel so bad for those what was that chick's name? Jen Psaki or whatever. Oh my gosh, dude. You could just tell every time they asked her a question, she was like, oh,
right.
No. Oh God. Who's gonna get me out of this? Please hurry, whoever it is. I mean, that poor girl.
Yep.
But she knew what she signed up for. She's a moron as well. But I mean, like, how can you possibly turn the president crapping his pants, falling off a bike, everything that's happened? How can you make that put it into a good light? It's tough. It's tough.
If anything, it's provided a bit of comedy for us to watch the incompetence at that level. But then, we realize these people are they follow the orders of the World Economic Forum and whatnot. And if anything, my focus has been like, okay, I know they follow the World Economic Forum. So who is Klaus Schwab reporting to? Who's even higher up than them, right? And it's
exactly. And then the world, and as all this stuff goes down, where we're arguing about what is a woman and this and that and the other, you've got Sweden and Finland joining NATO, and we, if you aren't aware, the leaders of both Sweden and Finland are World Economic Forum members. One of them was a part of their young leaders group. So I mean, this is the stuff that they don't want us to understand.
Right.
and why, yeah, the World Economic Forum is a big part of it, but you're right when you say who's directing Klaus Schwab. I mean, right. Really, who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows?
There's a lot of theories you could get into on that, and certain families and certain groups, and it's like,
people say Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Cullens, all that kind of stuff, and it's possible. And I wouldn't doubt if it were the Cullens, because what do you ever hear about the Cullens other than they had their own movies with Twilight? But
right, exactly. But if anything, even if we were to uncover them, it doesn't necessarily change what we need to do, again, like we were talking about within our local communities, right? So it's like, okay, we could keep going up the ladder, and we could find that final person they're reporting to, and okay, we still got to do what we got to do.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, man, it's like I hear a lot of people too say Bill Gates. Well, I didn't elect Bill Gates. What's he doing making my decisions and this and that? We need to get rid of Bill Gates. It's like, guys, what you have to understand is that if you walked up to Bill Gates, blew the back of his head off, there'd be 25 dudes like, yes, I've been waiting for this position. Let's go. Exactly.
They'd find if anything, Bill Gates would become a martyr for their cause.
Absolutely. 100%.
And if anything, it would allow for further restrictions, further implementation of their agenda. There'd be new people stepping up. They'd be like, that poor philanthropist was killed by those radical, so it's not even worth resorting to those type of tactics, because we're playing their game, we're feeding their system.
Look what happened in New York with Cuomo, and now they've got somebody new in there. That chick,
even worse.
What's her name? Kathy or whatever her name is. I don't even know. Yeah, she's 10 times worse than he is.
Yeah,
I don't know how you can get much worse than old Cuomo there, but he's managing to do it.
I was gonna say, you find a way, which is unbelievable, and it just goes to show you think we can't do worse than Biden. I'm sure we could. I'm sure it's only going to continue down that path if we allow it. So, and I guess in a way, having such a mockery of like the people in positions of leadership, I think is actually a good way to demoralize a lot of people, and it's a way to keep people feeling so disempowered, because it's like, wow, these are the people that are in positions of power. I feel helpless. So in a way, they kind of like having these buffoons in positions of power, because it adds a level of fear. It adds a level of control. I mean, there's something to be said about the smooth talking, manipulative type of individual who's going to do things behind the scenes. But if you can just be open and blatant and not even need to hide what you're doing, and just, if anything, that there's a level of effectiveness to it. I mean, it's a dangerous game because we can certainly wake up, but people who are so caught in it, they're gonna, I don't know, they seem to follow along anyways. There seems to be clearly Biden supporters running around out there, or people who are
makes no sense to me, but
I mean, right. And I guess I've had to, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I had the realization lately, and I write on Substack and do some writing.
Hey, dude, I don't mean to interrupt you. Can we pause for like 2 seconds? I just got to run to the bathroom quick. I thought I could make it.
Absolutely.
Sorry about that.
No problem, dude.
Okay.
Here, I'll press
Sorry about that.
Right on.
All right.
Where was I going?
Yeah, remember now. Damn it.
Oh, you know what it was? So I recently read it was a Rumi poem, and Rumi's, his poem's been around for 1,000 years, but one of them was called "Let Them Sleep," and it's about like, if people are not open to, I think he was referring specifically to love and sort of exploration, right? To let them sleep. But I've kind of equated that to like the modern day in a sense, where it's like, there's only so much that I can do for others until they make the decision to continue on their in their, I guess, they're comatose in a way, where I'm going to continue to speak truth and be myself authentically and love and open up and share truth, but in a way I can't force anybody to actually accept it. And so it's almost like I'm doing myself a disfavor if I'm discouraged by the other people who are choosing not to really engage in the truth, right? I mean, there's only so much I can do for them. You can lead the horse to the water, you can't make them drink.
That's very true. And I used to, especially like with my family, the people you care most about are the people you want to protect. And so I would always bring up like what's going on, especially when 2020 came in and we kind of, things took a turn. And that's a real easy way to become alienated from your family, because people just don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to believe it's true. They don't want to hear it. Yeah. And it's I don't even know really what to call it. It's discouraging.
Yeah.
It's understandable, but it's it shows you, I think, what too much comfort in society can do to people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, you can't even talk about the fact that these people are trying to control us, and people are like, oh, that's scary, I don't want to think about it. I mean, come on, dude. Come on, you don't want to think about it? Like we have people who you know, years ago fighting in wars and this and that and the other, you know, doing things that are completely unimaginable to a lot of us. And that stuff I don't want to think about. But the fact that these people are doing this and there's something you can do about it, well, I just don't want to think about it. Just don't ruin my life and I'll be fine.
Right. Exactly.
It's silly.
Well,
it's like,
comfort,
how much do you really care about your country then, and your friends and your family? I mean, come on, dude. Like, you know, I remember talking to my dad about this when it all popped off, and I said the same thing to him. I go, Dad, because he said, I said, you know, this is what you want your grandkids to be growing up with, Dad? This stuff, this top-down control where, oh, they're just led around by technology, and you can, you know, you got a little social credit going on, and just be a good person, and nothing will happen to you as long as you're following the rules. And my dad, being the proud American that he is, said, Joe, this is America. Nothing like that's going to happen here. People will stand up. And of course, he was sadly mistaken.
Right. Exactly.
But you know, that's the problem, is we all feel like that. Or I maybe not so much now, but back then we felt like that. Like, this is America, dude. You can't touch us. Come at us with your stupid shit. We'll knock it down every time. And in reality, that's not the way we are, evidently. I mean,
well, we think that mindset still exists, but it's like, all right, we actually need to reintegrate the American dream to live within the individual instead of expecting it to be taken care of at a larger level, right? Because it's the larger level that's infringing upon the individual. So it's the individual that has to reinvigorate that American dream, that spirit of, you're not going to mess with me, if they actually want that to continue to live. It has to start at the individual level. I mean, just look at, why did the Revolutionary War start? Because they put a tax on tea. They didn't want to pay a tax. And now look how many taxes we have. Look at what we're dealing with. Like, look at the nonsense that goes on at a societal level. You know, people, it's you know, it's like, where is people's line that they are, that has to be crossed, I guess, for them. And, you know, I think comfort creates complacency. It creates
absolutely
a lack of self empowerment and responsibility. And I think a lot of people are just disempowered, which is why they may say something like, oh, I see what's going on, but who am I to do anything about it?
Yeah. What can I do? That's what I hear all the time. What can I do about it? What can I do about it? Well, first of all, you can acknowledge it. And second of all, you can see what you can do in your community, like we've been talking about all podcasts now, to do something about it. Even if it's not who's my government official. How about a community garden?
Yeah.
You know, how about my wife, Leanne, is a perfect example. She's starting a school. We've got the open house tomorrow and Saturday.
Awesome.
She's starting a school from our home, and there'll be no critical race theory or any of this bullshit that they want to try to pass off as history. You know, 1619 project and all this crap. You know, and it's going to be a small thing. I think she's doing like 6 to 10 kids and K through 3rd grade and stuff like that. But that is how you get things done.
Yeah.
Is you get in your community and say, what can I do to help? Now, I got lucky with I Will Not Comply, and that went all over the world, and it still was censored, but they still couldn't stop it from doing what it did, and it should have done a lot more. But I'm not angry about that or anything. I just wish it would have, because, you know, of course, when you're able to counteract this movement, it makes you freaking happy as hell.
Absolutely.
And I think that's it. You know, you just got to do what you can for yourself in your little part of the world, and if it catches on and balloons out, hey, freaking awesome. You know, I didn't write that song because I thought, oh my gosh, people are really going to get down with this. When I put it out, people were not down with it. I put it out on YouTube a year before I actually recorded it, and people got pissed off, you know, and I don't care, get pissed off, whatever. But, you know, I thought, wow, this is what we've become, huh? And then all of a sudden people kind of started waking up, and it worked out the way it did. Thank you, Jesus. But it's just something that you got to do for yourself and your family is just care about that. Stop worrying about even the stuff that I say I enjoy, like Matt Walsh, you know, What Is a Woman, and that kind of thing. It's great. It's funny. And I'm glad that somebody's doing it, but even that's distraction. That's not, what are you going to get or do by sitting down and watching Matt Walsh's What Is a Woman? You'll laugh. You'll go, hey, yeah, buddy, that's great. That's wonderful. But how is it helping you?
Right.
You know, tomorrow, if the government comes and tells you that bread is $15 a loaf and your house is now their house, you're going to go, well, I'm so glad I watched Matt Walsh's What Is a Woman, because now I am, you know, perfect. Right. Doing great.
Exactly. It's like those, you know, the films and the music, all of it can be an inspiration. Like if you watch it and then you go and take action because you were inspired from it, I think that's the point of it. But it's not there for, and just absorb. If you just absorb the knowledge and then you don't do anything with the knowledge is wasted, right? You know, there was no point. It's just a different form of consumption. And I guess the government doesn't care what you're consuming. If you're still,
as long as you're not paying attention to them.
Exactly. And if you're not
start consuming their 700-page bills and tweeting about them on Twitter, that's when they get pissed off.
Yeah, right. You start calling them out directly. And, you know, even something as simple as tweets can be powerful. So, you know, just putting your voice out there in different ways and just trusting in the impact that it can have. I had somebody who was telling me they have a good friend who works in like a gas station travel center, right? And he told that person, you have the most important job in the world. And it's because you interact with hundreds upon hundreds of new people every single day. And so what seed are you planting within that person, right? So you can go out and you can have these interactions and you can drop seeds of truth and you can be yourself authentically and get awareness out there and in your own unique way. That's, if we were to look at our own impact from a bird's eye view, I think we'd be astounded, right? I'm sure if you did the same thing with even just the song I Will Not Comply, you'd be astounded by the impact that it has. It goes way deeper than the actual view count. It goes deeper than the immediate results that we see on the surface. It's kind of like how a tree, it's like how the majority of a tree, we only see maybe half of it. The majority of it is in the roots underground. We don't even get to see it, right?
Yeah, so you got it, man. You got it. And it's funny because we have a tendency, I think, to look at things as face value because of social media and that kind of stuff. You know, when I released Comply and it hit, everybody's like, well, this guy, Justin, I will not comply. He's a freedom fighter and patriot, and this, which I am. I totally am. But my songs, you know, I'm not releasing an entire record of freedom fighting songs to pander to patriots.
Right.
That song wasn't written for that purpose. It was written because I was pissed off and tired of this shit. And now if I was with a record label, we can go back to the record execs, that's exactly what they would tell me. Oh my gosh, dude, Comply, you know, that really went well, so we need 6 more songs just like that.
Right. Exactly.
But that's not who I am. You know, I'm not a mouthpiece for freedom fighters. I would love to be, and I love it when I can be, but I also write, you know, country music, hunting songs and fishing songs and whatever else, weed smoking songs, I guess I've written, and all my drinking songs and all that kind of stuff. It all boils, you know, it all pieces into who I am as a person. And I think it's hard to look at people and things like that, even for me, especially because, you know, what you see is what on social media is what you kind of tend to believe.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word.
It's almost like a quantitative measure of what we, you know, and it's good to know like the levels of engagement and how things are doing, right? But it's like, it doesn't necessarily speak to the deeper, profound nature of the impact itself. But
Right.
it's like, how do you find that balance of almost releasing the need to have a certain, kind of like, you could have went with "I Will Not Comply" and then released a whole album about non-compliance, right? And I'm sure it would have
Right.
hit,
Right.
whatever. But if that's
Right.
not what you're feeling called for, and that's not what you feel you need to express for you, then
Yeah,
it's not going to make nearly the impact that you just being yourself is going to make, even if it's not.
exactly.
So
And I told my wife, I said, I know what they want, because I got so many messages from people. Oh
yeah,
man, I can't wait for the next one. Can't wait for the next one. And it's like,
yeah,
guys, I hate to disappoint you, but there may not be a next one.
right,
Like, I've always wanted to do a cover of "God Bless the USA," and I think I will do that here in the coming months. But it's not for me. It's always been about real country music for real people that appreciate real music. And I'm not gonna stray from that just
mhm,
just to make a little extra cash. And I look at that like taking advantage of people.
yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's
And
it if oh, sorry, continue.
no, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you're not authentic in who you are, then you're not. It's almost like you're not helping anybody. The seeds of truth of you doing, real country music is more impactful than doing a half-hearted version
Yeah,
of songs about non-compliance, right? I
yeah,
mean,
I think
that's
you're absolutely right.
at the end of the day. And and if another non-compliant song feels true in your heart, then it'll be made, right? And I
Yep.
don't think
Oh,
we
definitely.
we don't need to attach a certain expectation or a certain way of things have to be done. I've definitely been on a similar journey in myself where it's like, I've done certain types of podcast episodes that have been successful, or written certain poems that I really like, and I'm like, ooh, I should write more like that. But it's like, well, I don't need to do that, and I don't necessarily feel called to do that. So why would I do it if
Yep.
it's not actually what I'm feeling in the moment? So
Absolutely. And
just
we put so much emphasis on money,
yeah,
and oh, I got to make this much, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. And I've always, much to my dad's chagrin, always looked at life as, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do what I want to do.
me
And
too.
as long as I'm making a living, and I'm not, some sponge that's just being a bum and a mooch, I don't see any problem with it.
Yeah,
I'm not calling my dad every week and asking him for money. I do my own thing, and no, I don't make a ton of money. I mean, I'm sure if you added it up, we're probably right on the poverty line. We don't make a lot of money with this music, but
mhm,
it's not about that. It's about, do I eat every day? Yeah. Is my family taken care of? Absolutely. And do I get to do what I love to do and make music that people love to listen to? Yes. And you know what? If I get anything after that, I look at it as icing on the cake, pretty much, because that's the way you want to live life, man. It's not about money and who and this and that. It's about being comfortable with yourself. Success is measured, should be measured by you and nobody else, I think.
absolutely, man. I agree wholeheartedly. I live my life the same way, and then,
Like, yeah.
I don't necessarily. I'm not rich. I'm not wealthy. Would it be nice if I had more money coming in? Certainly. I think we could all agree with that
Yeah,
sentiment.
right. I think we can all say, hell yeah, bring on the
But it's
cash.
like, am I living a life that's fulfilling, and I'm speaking like I'm living to my spirit's calling?
Yeah,
If I can answer yes to that question, the circumstances, life tends to, and I'm sure you could speak to this as well. Life tends to figure itself out, and we tend to make it work when we're living true to who we are. Like, we
you
find a
got it.
way.
You got it. And especially when you find your calling and you put to rest all the things. Like, I've always had a big problem with my blindness.
Mhm.
I can't play video games. I can't drive a car. Like, I love
Yeah,
video games and cars.
yeah,
And it took a lot for me to really understand, like, hey, you know what? You really are blessed with something special. And instead of drinking your life away and poor me, I can't do this and I can't do that, you really need to embrace it. And life will just kind of work itself out. And has it been easy? No. Has it been trials and tribulations and craziness, absolutely. But you know what? I wouldn't trade it for the world, man, because I am who I am. I'm happy with me, and I'm happy that God has let me, do what I love to do. And I think that's kind of what we're all put here to do is what we love and what we, that's why we're passionate about what we're passionate about. But we've been fooled into thinking that we need this stuff. You need 4 years of college. You need a 9-to-5 job. You need this and that and the other. Otherwise, you're just, oh my gosh, you're not barely contributing to society if you're not doing these things.
Right.
And it's just silly. I mean, it's absolutely silly, especially now with you look at college and universities and all their woke crap and realize that it's a money pit and another stupid thing designed to keep you in debt.
Exactly. Well, it's the ultimate inversion of who we're supposed to be,
Yes. And you know what, man? I'm glad you used that word inversion, because I tell people that all the time. These people, the inversion is their thing. This and this is probably going to maybe cause a little controversy. I don't care, but I'm a Christian.
I love it.
So that is Satan. Okay. People think that Satan is, you worship the devil, Satanism, or, stuff like that. And that could not be farther from the truth. Being, if you're a part of a satanic, cult or religion or whatever you want to call it, is you worship yourself. It's do what thou wilt. That was Aleister Crowley's teachings. And if you can look up Aleister Crowley, people will tell you that Anton LaVey and the Satanic Bible are the way to go with Satan and Satanism. That's not true. That's another distraction, folks. Look up Aleister Crowley, understand what he has done and what all the teachings and all of his disgusting, depraved crap, and you'll understand what Satanism really is. And it's do what thou wilt. And that's what all these people are doing right now. These same people that are in Hollywood or in the government or whatever, and they say, oh, I'm atheist, or, God, oh, whatever. But they sure don't have a problem taking Jesus Christ's name in vain every chance they get on TV and radio and everywhere else. And they don't have a problem inverting everything and showing their pentagrams and their upside down crosses and all that stuff. But they don't believe in Jesus, man. They don't believe. My ass, dude. My ass. That is it's the biggest lie I've ever heard. They know exactly what they're doing. And that has always been Satanism, is invert. What is up is now down.
Exactly. And that's the way of society. When you look at all the different aspects of what
now.
We've been
the devil
sold.
Is taken over.
Yeah. And they hides in plain sight, as they say, right?
You got it, man. You got it. And I know it sounds gooby, right? But again, that's the way they want it to sound. This is what we've been programmed with. This, oh my gosh, you talk about Jesus, you weirdo.
Right. Exactly.
I mean,
and it's a way to get people to, not even think about these things and make inversion the foundation of their own self-identity as well.
Yeah.
Right.
You got it.
And the way they live their lives.
Yeah. And it's all over, the trans agenda and the TV shows and movies. I mean, oh my gosh, my wife and I can barely watch a new movie or a new TV show anymore, and we just point this stuff out. We're just like, oh my gosh, really? Like this is so blatant. But if you don't know about it, then you don't know. You're just watching a show and you're like, whatever.
Exactly. And I think we can all do some self-analysis and recognize whether there were points in our lives where we were living almost an inverted version of our own true calling.
Oh, dude, for most of my life.
Same here.
Absolutely.
And that's the conditioned norm. And that's what our system is built to create, because our system, it almost operates as a machine, and its battery is our spirit. And the only way to get that energy is to invert, and for us to put our sovereignty not into ourselves, but into the survival of this machine and the survival of this.
And they know that. That's why they try to push this atheism thing so hard. Because they know that when they're putting out this, whatever you want to call it, dark magic, bad energy, it's all the same shit. Yeah. When they put that out, they know that it can be combated with godly energy. Yeah. And so they put out these shows and in movies. Oh, I don't believe in God. Oh, I'm an atheist. Yeah, God, what's he ever done for me? Blah, blah, blah. All this stuff. It's all a mind fuck. Excuse my language. I don't know if I can say that on here.
Oh, you can say whatever you want.
But But it is. And that's why they want you to be atheist and not believe in God and be depressed all the time, because then their energy and these spells, as I call them, or whatever you want to call them, work their magic. And if you don't believe in it, this is something that really floors me, dude. There's a lot of Christian people that I've talked to that don't believe in dark magic.
Wow.
It blows my mind. You believe in the Holy Spirit and in Jesus Christ, and that he can do anything and be anything and help you with anything you need. But when it comes to dark magic, you don't buy it.
Right.
I will never, ever understand that. They make it out to be like, oh, that's just stuff you see in cartoons. Oh, God, I hate that so much.
That's why they're in the cartoons.
Exactly why they put it there. They put it there so that, number one, so that people say that, and number two, so that kids see it and go, hey, magic. Can I really do that? And majority of kids are smart enough to go, it's pretend, or their parents tell them it's pretend. But how about the 5 to 10% of kids that go, I got a buddy that's really into this kind of thing. Maybe I should look into this stuff a little bit more, read up on some Anton LaVey and some Aleister Crowley and figure out this stuff, because it's real. It's not fake.
Yeah.
It's just as real as prayer, and they know it.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. You have the light and you have the dark, and most people are too afraid to look into the dark to expose what's within it. And I think in a lot of ways, it's because it's going to reveal parts of themselves that have been unconsciously driven by it or unconsciously bypassing it.
Yeah. And that's a hard pill to swallow, man. Like it really can be. I remember when I finally just kind of had my thing with Jesus, and when I really, and I know it sounds kind of strange, but like really felt Jesus there and knew, like, because I said something very disgraceful, and something happened to me. And it was just like, wow, okay, I get it, dude. I get it now. All right. Like I'm going to really focus on changing myself, for myself and for the Lord, because yeah, man, I mean, it's really quite, because we don't see God and see Jesus, and all we hear about are these miracles, and you don't hear about little things that happen to people a lot. I think it's easy to dismiss the power of God, like, well, I don't see him every day, so whatever. But man, if you've ever been hit with something as powerful as I was hit with, you realize that you have no choice but to accept it and do everything you can to make sure that people understand. Like me personally, I don't care what religion you are. Like if you believe in Jesus or not, I wish you would. I really wish you would, because he's the only thing that's going to save us. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my gosh, you have to be this or you have to be that. You make your own decisions. But in the end, you have to, even if you don't believe in Christianity, I think there's a big something to be said for pushing towards doing good to people and thinking about your actions before you make a decision. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think there's multiple ways to come to the knowing of God, not just the belief, because belief implies that it might not be true, right? And so
you have to have actual faith, like solid faith, and that can be so hard when you haven't had an experience of a big proportion, you know what I mean? But then, I look at like my mother-in-law, who has always been a devout Christian, and the things that happen to her, dude, are just unreal. I mean, she prays all the time, and she's very, very devoted, and like something can happen to her that's just completely unbelievable. Like one time she thought she was going to have to like completely leave her job and quit her job and this and that. And the things that happen to she did have to leave her job, but then like 3 things came into play for her right after she left. So it's crazy how I don't know how that mic stand just fell. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's good.
But it's just crazy how much things can change when you actually do believe and you kind of pray. You know what I mean? And that's another thing is people say pray, and I think people think like oh yeah, you know,
Right.
Lord, blah blah blah, amen. And listen, dude, listen, talk to God like you talk to your buddy.
Yeah.
Seriously, you want a best friend? God is your man. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
like I do it all the time.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, God, here we go. You know what? I'm going on the stream today, and for whatever reason, I'm just not feeling it. I'm going to need your energy for this, man. So help me out. Let's go.
Exactly. And you try,
It's as easy as that.
exactly. And then you gain that intimate connection with
Yeah,
God, with the divine, and you can feel it flowing through you in those
absolutely,
moments where you need it most, right? And that's
100%, man.
and it makes those, in a way, it almost kind of makes the big events that you were talking about, like you don't even necessarily need them to continue your faith. You feel God in the little moments. You feel
Mhm.
and like it's beyond belief. It's a knowing, and you can allow that to really open up your heart in a new way and open yourself up to the world in a new way, to be yourself authentically, to be the best version of yourself that you can be for others. Um, and I think this societal inversion, it's obviously deliberate, because if people were to understand the power of the divine and how how accessible that is for everybody,
Yeah,
none of what's going on would be possible right now.
you got it. You
The
got
world
it.
would be radically different and built on that foundation of divinity and
Yep. And
grace.
and we go back to what we talked about before with TV shows and movies and media and
Mhm.
stuff like that, and all the constant driving of uh Satan, violence,
Right.
whatever you want to call it. And look, I'm not one of these people that's like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't play video games, they're violent, or you shouldn't
Right.
watch this show, it's violent. Like, I don't care about that, man. I grew up on Mortal Kombat. Come on.
Right.
But it's gotten to a point now where it's just so blatant and so ridiculous. Like this whole trans thing, dude. And I don't know if you're leery about talking about this or not, but
No, go
I
for it.
I don't care who you are. If you're, an adult and you decide that you're a woman and you want to be a man, hey, or a man, you want to be a woman, I guess, whatever. But when they start doing this stuff to kids,
Mhm.
and this is the big thing. Now there's this guy on Instagram. I strongly advise all of your listeners to head on over to Instagram, look up Eli Erlich, Eli
I'm going to do that right now.
Erlik, I believe. And
Mhm.
Eli is a PhD. He's very proudly queer and trans. And he's decided that him and his friends are going to order doubles of their hormones prescriptions and send them through the mail to minors who can't get them.
Wow.
That is Satan at his finest, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't do anything else about it, please go onto his profile, click the more button at the upper right hand corner of your phone there, report his ass for drugs. I
Yeah.
mean, this is sickening, absolutely sickening. Go on Twitter, find him on Twitter, tag the DEA. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, guys, like this is just disgusting. When if you wanna, I don't agree with trying to do any of this, trying to pull one over on adults like this either, taking advantage of people that are in a obviously severe mental state.
Mhm.
But kids who don't even know who they are, who
Yeah.
have such issues already with puberty when they're 12, 13, 14, 15 years old and have no idea what the hell's going on with life or their bodies or anything else, to put this on them, that is some pure unadulterated evil.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's interesting because I had never really been aware of all the people who have detransition stories in the one, and
Yeah.
that's
Oh
censored,
yeah.
heavily
Yeah.
censored, people who have detransitioned and said, "Oh, I was caught in a social phenomenon." And you have to wonder, what percentage of these people are, and for kids especially, I would say it's a good majority are caught in the social phenomenon of that.
Absolutely. A
And
lot of them.
yeah, and if somebody wants to do this when they're an adult, I believe people have free will. I won't
Yep.
judge them for it. I'll still open my heart to them and be compassionate and listen and try and understand. Doesn't mean that I necessarily think it's
Agree with it.
right,
Yeah. But
exactly.
you don't
But
have to agree with it to be nice to somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I don't agree with abortion, but I
Right.
wouldn't
Same.
walk up to somebody that had an abortion and go, "Oh my gosh, you slimy piece of shit. What's your problem?"
Right. Exactly.
I mean, if anything, I would want to help them heal their soul.
Right, because that creates deep trauma. And
Yeah,
I've heard people talk about having abortions and then having deeply, deeply rooted pain and trauma for years that they're
of
unable to get
course.
over. Right.
Of course. But no, they don't want to tell you about that, because that would, just like the trans thing, that cuts into the agenda and it cuts into the money. Look at how much friggin' money Planned Parenthood brings in every year. I mean, it's disgusting. Right. Disgusting. A program that was designed by someone who Margaret Sanger. I mean, what a
eugenicist.
Do some research on Margaret Sanger if you want to know about eugenics and just absolute filth, man. What a loser.
Yep. And it's interesting because I've been doing a lot of research on eugenics and how it connects to the modern movements, and all of these different agendas. They kind of have, like, the eugenics was they defined it as like the biological driving, like trying to be almost like creating the selection of how humans are going to be, right? That was the principle behind eugenics. And it's the same exact thing that's taking place now with all of our different societal agendas. It's the reinforced, we are selecting how mankind is going to be instead of allowing nature to do its thing. And so in a lot of ways, all these inversions come back to that same eugenic science. And it's just with vaccines and transhumanism and all of it, it's the I would say almost technological driving of mankind and what we're quote unquote moving towards, instead of allowing nature and God to.
And that's exactly what these people at the World Economic Forum and stuff want, the integration of technology into human beings. And people say, oh, that's silly. That's silly. I'm not putting anything in my body. Really? I bet you didn't think you were going to walk around with a big rectangle in your pocket,
right,
and feel like you're completely lost without it either. But here we are.
Just look at what they implement it in small steps, so people don't necessarily.
It's a slow burn, dude. It's a slow burn, and they know that. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They know if they ripped it out like that big time, that people would revolt. So they're not dumb. People think, oh, the government's stupid. Yeah, the people that they let you see on television and stuff, they are stupid. But the people really pulling the strings, they know exactly what they're doing. Exactly.
It's a level of evil genius. And in a way,
it really is.
I see
they're like the cartoon character villains. You're right. Yeah. That's kind of what Bill Gates reminds me of, as a cartoon character villain. But
exactly.
But yeah, 100%, dude. It is. It's evil genius. You hate to admit it, but I mean, you almost have to respect it a little bit, because it's so diabolical that you're just like, wow.
Right. It's like the level that they go to. It's like, wow, I can't believe that this is actually real, and it's this thought out. It's this deliberate. There is so many different avenues that they cover all areas of society, and it's almost unbelievable. But once you gain that level of awareness, it really does. Like, I personally feel more empowered knowing how much of society is fake and inverted, because I can go and live my life and craft a reality, and not feel attached to trying to even fit in anymore. Like, it doesn't matter. I've never really fit in anyways, but you know what?
I hear that 100%, man, and that's kind of been my thing with social media. And it kind of sucks, because as a musician, you want to be on social media and you want to be present and stuff. But I stay away from it, dude. I really do. Like, I go on every day and I stream and I read the comments and I hang with my people. But like, as far as scrolling anymore, dude, I don't even open the apps. I don't go on Twitter. I don't go on Facebook. I don't go on Instagram. I haven't touched TikTok in probably a month and a half. And that's just because, who wants to be bombarded with all that crap when there's so much real, wonderful stuff in the world that you can enjoy? Like, I live on a few acres now. So like, I can go outside and sit on the porch with my guitar and play a couple songs, or hang out with my wife and, go to the restaurant down the road that serves local food and get a bite to eat or whatever. And that, to me, is living, man. It's living in my own reality versus a reality that's been manufactured for me by algorithms,
Exactly. There's nothing more enjoyable for me. I'm in West Yellowstone, Montana right now.
Yeah.
And just hopping out on my longboard at the end of the day, going riding towards the sunset, seeing the beautiful mountains. And that's freedom. That's freedom.
That's it, buddy. You got it. 100%.
Ah, beautiful, man. So I know we're actually at about an hour and a half, which is
cool.
So I don't know, man. Would you want to end the podcast with a little bit of a little more authentic country music? Give people a little bit of taste.
Let's do it, man. Did we do I Will Not Comply last time I was on? I can't remember. Maybe we should end with Comply just to...
I was gonna say we could do it. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it, man. So yeah, this is I wrote this song not last year, but the year before, after I kind of saw what was going on. And I had been putting some posts up on Facebook about the World Economic Forum. And somebody messaged me and said, hey, instead of posting about it on social media, why don't you actually get off your ass and do something about it? And after I got done being super pissed off at this guy, I was like, you know what, fucker, I will. And I sat down and wrote this and posted it on YouTube, and I got a bunch of backlash, but thankfully it all worked out in the end when we recorded it. So This is one for the establishment, at least the ones that don't give a damn about us. It's called I Will Not Comply, and it goes like this. I will not comply. They're trying to take me to task because I don't want to wear a mask and take the vaccine that could maybe make me die. They got no scientific evidence to back that crap up. All they do is feed us lie after lie. That's why I will not comply. Now, since back last March, I've had an achy, breaky heart like a Billy Ray Cyrus. I've been catching a case of the blues from the news around the damn coronavirus. Now they're telling us we gotta keep our chin dappers up, even if we got the shot in the arm. Nobody's talking about exercise or eating food that's fresh, grown from the farm. That's why I will not comply. They're trying to take me to task because I don't want to wear a mask and take a vaccine that could maybe make me die. They got no scientific evidence to back that crap up. All they do is feed us lie after lie. That's why I will not comply. Now listen, y'all. The only way to stop the violence is for us to break the silence right now. So if you tend to agree and you're pissed off like me, stand your ass up and scream it out loud. Saying I will not comply. Try to take me to task because I don't want to wear a mask. Take the vaccine that can maybe make me die. They got no scientific evidence to back that crap up. All they do is feed us lie after lie. That's why I will not comply. Yeah, I'm here to tell you, Evan, I will not comply. No. Woo. Yeah, that's the gospel according to Blind Joe right there.
I love it, man. I love it. It is the sound, it is truly the sounds of freedom and non-compliance like that. And it's the energy we need right now, you know?
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate you digging it. And thank you all for listening, man. And Evan, thanks so much for having me on, dude. It's always a pleasure talking to you and hanging out and just shooting the bull with somebody that gets it, man.
Hell yeah, I agree, dude. And let's plan on doing it again, maybe before the year ends. I think we had about a year in between our last conversation. We'll cut the time in half this time because I mean we can obviously go on for hours about this stuff.
Right.
So
right. Well, that sounds great, brother. You hit me up anytime, man. I always look forward to it. God bless you, man. Stay awesome.
God bless you too, brother. And I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. See ya.
All right. See ya.
All right, bud.
All right. Peace.